It's BBC Radio Wales Monday night, and it is Manic Street Preachers joining us on the show. James and Nicky, how are you both?
Good, thank you. Cheers, sir.
Album number 15, Critical Thinking. We've just heard Decline and Fall. I mean, that is a brilliant... I think that was the first song we heard from this record.
Yes.
And an ABBA influence, James. Is that true?
I think... Well, we all love a bit of ABBA. I mean, like, you know, there's been no shame in liking ABBA for about 30 years now, I don't think, is there? Yeah. You know, kind of everybody got rid of that guilty pleasure moniker that ABBA used to have.
I think the bit in Motorcycle was Dancing Queen, isn't it?
Have you always loved ABBA?
Yeah, everybody always did. And if they said they didn't, they were pretending. But I think there's some kind of post-punk, kind of new wave references with the piano in Decline and Fall, like the Associates, you know, definitely, you know, the way they used to use piano and stuff in their music, which was produced by Mike Edges as well, which is a connection to us. I think there's an influence of that. There's an influence perhaps a little bit with a bit of the Waterboys piano in there. Somebody said a bit of Ultravox, which might be true, actually, you know, subconsciously. Right. So I think it's driven more towards the kind of post-punk, kind of New Romo stuff, really.
And certainly a Skids influence with the guitars, you know, that Stuart Addison sort of thing. The first time James that played it me, I just thought it sounded like, this is not being cynical, but I just thought, it just sounds like a brilliant radio record.
And it does.
Yeah.
It just jumps out. And it strikes me, I mean, is that a great one to sing live as well, James? Because you belt it out, don't you?
It's in one of my lower registers, that one kind of thing. So it's yeah, we're still piecing that one together, I think. But when we played it the other night, it felt like there's quite a good energy in the crowd for the song, because you're always looking for a new song to stay in the set for as long as possible, and then it's got a chance of becoming a classic kind of thing, you know? So.
Because you've got 15 albums and a huge back catalogue to choose from now. You've got the dates coming up in April and May, Swansea Arena, 9th and 10th. How do you go about, Nick, deciding which songs to play? And you don't want to upset people, right, by not playing. I mean, you have to do a Design for Life at every gig?
Yeah, I mean, this is not real world pain now. I'm talking like just band world pain. It is quite a torturous experience doing a set list.
I can imagine.
Which is obviously has no reflection on the real world. But the gigs we did at Prism, for instance, we did She Is Suffering, we did Peeled Apples, which we haven't done probably for a decade. But then we're still doing stuff like You Stole the Sun, plus 4 or 5 new songs, and Motorcycle. James, bizarrely, has come up with the idea that he doesn't want to play Motorcycle Happiness at
First time I felt like that, and I said it the other night, and like, you know...
see his reaction?
Usually,
that's what the crowd's going to be, times 10.
Usually, kind of like, I'm talking in the dressing room, and Nick and Sean are just looking the other way, and then I said... I'm getting this feeling I don't want to play Motorcycle, and they both turned their heads towards me. Like, oh, now I got your attention. And I just feel like we can afford to drop it, because if we're not playing Motorcycle, we're playing Tolerate, we're playing You Love Us, we're playing
it's mad.
Design for Life, we're playing
madness.
You know, so
it's a random ball of energy.
We've come to the point where we can drop songs like that, I think.
And I was trying, as I'm always the mediator between James and Sean as a rule. I tend to mediate, which is strange. I know people don't think me as a mediator, but I do. And I was like, I understand we don't have to do certain songs, but you cannot do a gig without Motorcycle, Tolerate, Design for Life, in my opinion.
Yeah. Because you do so many gigs. Yeah. I mean, it's a journey.
Other bands, I got to see other bands, and they will leave some bangers out sometimes. They will.
And do you like that, or are you annoyed?
No, I don't.
But yeah, it's a real difficult task, and there's so many wings to the Manic's party. There's, you know, for some, Holy Bible Journal for Plague Lovers is the apex of their love. A large proportion genuinely love the kind of glam fun of Generation Terrorists. Some people just want the massive songs. Send Away the Tigers, the more rocky side. You know, it's not easy to satisfy.
Which song from the album, James, are you most looking forward to playing on the upcoming tour?
Oh, God. That's an interesting question.
The ones you don't sing on?
It's going to be interesting to see if we can keep control of One Man Militia if we do it. Because that's the kind of song, if you don't give yourself something to... If you don't play to a click, you know, just something to come back to, you know, then it can run away, it can fall apart. I like the idea of challenging ourselves to do that.
We should play One Man Militia. This is the closing track on the album.
Yeah.
And when I first heard this, I was going, that is going to go off when the Manics play this live.
Yeah, but when things go off, sometimes they explode and they fall apart. So yeah, hopefully that'll be good. It will, it's kind of... But you've got to harness the power. You can't... If you go too fast, it just all crumbles,
Let's hear it. Let's play One Man Militia. It's the Manic Street Preachers, our guests tonight on Radio Wales. It's the Manics. That is the closing track on Critical Thinking, and James and Nicky are with us for a look into this brilliant new record, album number 15. And there is although there are sad songs on this record, Nick, there is a new kind of energy to this record. Is it an energy that you don't think you've found on an album before?
Yeah, I do, because I think some of that come from James writing 3 lyrics. Perhaps some of it's coming from me writing 3 whole, piece of music and singing on them, rather than passing them on. The idea that some songs have worked together as a band so brilliantly, like People Ruin Paintings or Being Baptised, and some are slightly more individual, and then everyone just piles in. So it's an album of I think it's an album of moments. Which, sometimes I can get bogged down in thematic kind of overhangs of an album. And, like famously on Lifeblood, I would, like, if Sean ever played a cymbal, I would say, I'd go mad and say, we shouldn't have any cymbals apart from hi-hats on Lifeblood.
So there were no rules like that with this album.
No.
And that comes with experience and with maturity. You're in a good place, James?
For us, it was an angle, because it's an angle we've never explored. Not to have a concept, not to have an MO, not to have some kind of loose concept that you could hang the album off. We just went in and just played songs, and there were no rules. So that's the way a lot of bands just make records.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And we've never really been like that. So for us, it was new, really. Just being that loose and being that free was quite new for us.
But there are, of course, themes, and there are certain lyrics, art, and you've mentioned in interviews, Nicky, the tangible, the letters and things. Because I'm in your studio with you here for Radio Wales tonight, and it's full of memorabilia and books and pictures and things.
Everything that my wife made me get rid of from the house.
I mean, when you collect things like, I don't know, photos or set lists or little bits and bobs, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners listening will also be, collectors of things like this.
Yeah.
Do you put them in special places? Do you file it? How organised and methodical are you in your collecting?
Up until maybe 2 years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I was. You could say some of it was... I mean, I think up until 2 years ago, I've got every single set list that we've ever done.
On A4 paper?
Yes.
In a file?
Yes. Well, it's a big file.
Right, yeah. Wow.
And I am prone... There's a bit of Paul Heaton thing where Paul Heaton used to collect carrier bags and crisp packets.
Yes.
And he may still well, I don't know. But, I mean, I collect, for instance, hotel stationery.
Yeah.
It's a real guilty pleasure.
I always think of you when I see a nice pen.
Yes.
In like one of those nice stationery shops. Go, I bet Nicky's got one of them.
Stanley Kubrick was famously obsessed with stationery shops. Files, paper, pens. So yeah, I do have to stop myself. I think I'm just getting old and tired. I'm not quite so on it as I used to be.
And I suppose there's so much as well now that, you could just carry on forever. But you do have a lockup of Manic's T-shirts and things like that as well, haven't you?
Indeed. Maybe I am stepped off it, because when we were in Tokyo at the start of the year, I did burst into James's room on the last day saying, I need to get your stationery. Can I have your stationery?
You did ask, can I have your stationery?
Yes.
I mean, I think that the studio holds some surprises in terms of what would expect from your psyche, because you wouldn't have allowed this kind of mess.
Oh,
before.
I know.
There's a table in front of us here, and there's a shelf underneath the table itself, and there's all a disorganised mess of envelopes and postal order. It's just all rubbish.
I mean, there's a letter there saying that a parcel hasn't been delivered.
There's a lot of that.
Stuff like
Then
that.
look at this. This is a set list written on the back of a bill.
Yeah, that's more my kind of
goes-
more my kind of way of dealing with life.
This is Motorcycle Tolerate, You Love Us, Motown Jump.
That shelf over there behind you, that's a mishmash of... that's not really kind of how he likes life to be
I had
lived.
to disassociate from the studio, from my personal kind of archive, because
but
it's just too much to take in.
It goes mess, Q Award, NME Award, bottle of whiskey.
Bottle of Manic Street Preachers whiskey, actually.
Your own brand of whiskey.
I was given to us as a present. So I think there's a bit of respite for you from
Indeed.
from the kind of the shelving of your brain.
Yeah, as John Cale said, I think work is the new fun. And I think the older you get, you do feel like the extraneous stuff, the work ethic we've all got from our parents. And with my dad, it was always about whether it was the allotment or whether just fixing things or building things. I feel that we've carried that on, but just through artistic endeavour, be it songs, be it photograph. I do challenge myself every day just to complete one thing. And it might be absolute rubbish, whether it's a couple of lines, a photograph, whatever, learning a song. I make sure that every day I try and do one thing like that. Because I always feel my dad would always do one, whether it's just needlessly painting a door or, growing something. I feel like it's important to at the end of the day, think, at least I try to do that today. Whether it's successful is not the main part.
I love that you're painting yourself as a beacon of positivity and optimism, because we're going to play Critical Thinking now, which is the opening track on the album. Have a listen to this. There's Manic Street Preachers. That's how the album opens. That was Critical Thinking. And, the lyrics speak for themselves there, Nicky, in terms of the words and the messages.
The dripping sarcasm, as James described it, he went, it's dripping with sarcasm.
Yeah, a lot of sarcasm in that
That's
one.
the idea. It's an address to the self. I think it's a sort of thing a part of our fan base will absolutely adore, because it's what they if you read the interviews of myself and Richie in particular at the start, it is just full of that kind of stuff, and the power to disseminate and reject and sometimes accept arguments or corporate euphemisms, the kind of inane wellness, fridge magnet philosophizing that, gives incredibly imperfect solutions to serious problems. Because I think we all know as we get older that nothing is simple if you're faced with a problem. An app will never fix your roof or your plumbing. No matter what we're told, there's nothing smart about it. It's actually either getting someone in or taking the hideous opportunity to do it yourself.
Well, I'm thinking of you and the vacuum cleaner.
Yes.
Do you still do the vacuuming?
When my wife lets me, yeah. When that she allows me my safe space.
You haven't got one of those... you can get those machines that just go around the floor themselves.
Oh, come on, Hugh. Don't deprive me of one of my few absolute joys in life.
Yeah.
Like the house that we live in, my wife and the kids, is homely, but it's very organised and very clean. And my wife was a librarian, so she is obsessed with order.
Brilliant. We're going to play another song from Critical Thinking now. And should we play Out of Time Revival from the record?
Yeah.
Okay, here's Manic's. It's Out of Time Revival from Manic Street Preachers. Can you tell us a little bit about that song, James?
Yeah, it's just a wake-up call to oneself. It's just about the ability to try and... my ability to overanalyze things and perhaps not rely on my own instinct. Perhaps my best way of doing things is just punching through the wall My best way of doing things is just finding a chord and digging in. My best way of doing things is just kind of ignoring the noise around me, and perhaps ignoring my own negative feelings. That's the way I've always been.
And mine.
And, no, really. I feed off yours sometimes.
When Nick, you saying that he challenges himself every day, do you do that as well?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Some days, scratching my feet is definitely something I can really enjoy.
Scratching your feet?
Yeah.
But James is in the middle of a different time zone with kids and stuff to me. Mine are grown up a bit now, so I have more time to think of those things.
No, I don't set myself targets so much, but I do things anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not very good at analysing myself.
Well, can I do a bit of analysing for you?
No, wait a second. No, I'd rather you didn't. Out of Time Revival is about just like driving through the wall, just like putting your fist through something and just trying to find the answer through the pain of something, or just the answer through the boredom of something, or just trying to ignore the negative stuff and just saying, just keep going. But looking for potential symbols in life, whether it be in the sky or the sea, on top of a mountaintop, is not the way for me to go, because I usually end up having a good time and I end up enjoying my sandwich and a flask of coffee. But kind of like, I don't find the answer to anything. And you put too much pressure on situations in life. Sometimes escape is enough. And I was trying to put too much pressure on situations where I'd be somewhere and I'd think, a line's going to come to me, the answer's going to come, this moment of clarity is going to come like a bolt from the blue. And it didn't. It just appreciate the time for what it is. Usually my good answers come through just persisting.
There's a brilliant James Baldwin quote which says, "I've seen a lot of talented ruins." And to paraphrase it, that unfortunately it's not just talent, it's the discipline, it's the luck, it's the drive, and I love a talented ruin myself, but, I think we're lucky to have that extra push.
What do you mean by a talented ruin? Explain that to me, Nick.
Well, that talent, we've seen talented ruins in school. I've seen some people I thought, God, they're going to be a decathlete and, be in the Olympics or rugby players, but talent is not enough with those extra elements. Sometimes that is luck as well. I mean, the luck that I found James and Sean, and
we all got lucky,
Richie,
yeah.
That's a pretty remarkable to be in the same school.
Yeah,
and everything that went with that is remarkable. And as James was saying, that he doesn't like to overanalyze, and perhaps it's not good for him. And again, that gives those opposites in the record, because I love to overanalyze myself.
I think we've always
which
been,
is good.
We've always been absolutely happy in our different ways of approaching things. Like Sean is inevitably different to either of us.
Absolutely.
And Richie was the other side of the page, wasn't he? He was like
he still hovers over us all in a brilliant way.
Yeah. So we've always been happy with that. We've never tried to force each other into people's way of thinking too much, I don't think.
I do. James does have to put a lot up with my negative. I have this idea that negative capability is as good as positive capability. That you can get as much out of negativism as you can out of positivism, which can be quite draining for people around me at times. But it's just the way we work. And I think Outtime Revival wasn't the easiest one. It did take a lot of digging in, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
James ended up putting this great sort of Cure-esque bass guitar thing on there, which really transformed the song. And then I think we went to Rockfield and Sean put the drums on there.
He did, yeah.
So it's all, some songs just fly. And as James said, some songs you just got to dig in.
There's a line in it about finding, learning a language.
Oh no! Oh God! It's I was trying to find an inspiration in the language of another tongue, but it doesn't have to be inspiration. You can just enjoy it, Because at the moment I'm trying to learn French because my wife has got her passport and my kids got their French passports because with my wife's lineage. I feel a bit left out.
And is that why you started learning Welsh as well?
No, I was kind of... there was a moment in our school when we were young. There was one class, I don't know if you remember it, where you could have 1 or 2 hours Welsh in a Welsh class, Welsh language class a week. And it was like the scene at Wonderful at the Cuckoo's Nest. There had to be 5 people, and only 4 people put their hand up. I was one of them because I was in choir already, kind of thing. So I was already singing Aclanamore and all that kind of rubbish kind of thing. Not rubbish, but you know what I'm saying. It's typical school choir behaviour in Wales. And there was only 4 people in the class, so we couldn't have those lessons. Right. So it was always a bit of a missed opportunity. And I think I connected through... I found my old choir programme from Motor Comprehensive when I was clearing up my dad's attic the other day. And it's a heavy itinerary. We had...
Laura singing.
We had 12 concerts in December, and at least 8 of those songs were in Welsh, kind of thing, It's part of the old cliche. Lovely to hear it be sung, but not to be uttered. So I was part of that South Walian generation. But I wanted to go further, but there were only 4 people in the class that voted to have that lesson.
And that was only, like you said, an hour a week.
It was only 2 hours.
What was the option? Citizenship or something like that?
I can't remember.
So later in life, you
I picked it up. I've been doing it quietly on my own for quite a while, kind of thing. And now my kids have dragged me through, and they've passed me past the fear of dropping my Treiglad mutations and stuff.
And you sang a Welsh language version of Ready for Drowning in Cardigan last year.
Yeah, it was a good experience. It was nice. I always felt it was especially a lyric written by Wire that was for all of Wales, because there's such an encompassing song about Wales. Because it's about Joerin, etc., etc., and we all know the history behind that. And there's a narrative in the song that draws from that. And I always felt like that song really felt... I would like all of Wales to kind of be involved in that song, inclusively with the language as well. And it felt nice to sing it. And it was a complicated process. I did some of the lines myself and had to get some help on some of the other lines through a friend called Owen. And it was a good experience. It wasn't scary. It felt natural. It felt really good. And perhaps... next time you hear me sing that song, perhaps I'll sing not just one verse in Welsh, but all of it in Welsh, kind of thing. But some of the lines are challenging, no doubt.
I mean, I must admit I'm pretty in awe of James's ability with languages. I genuinely am. It's a gift that has seriously eluded me. I do, I can disseminate a John Gray philosophy tract quite easily, but when it comes to language, I really struggle. So I am in...
I can tell you, I've got some friends who are not impressed with my level of Welsh, and my mother-in-law is definitely not impressed with my French learning yet. So
I'm impressed. He's on when we were on the Suede tour, and this is perfectly natural and nice and funny. But James would be in America or Japan, and James would be calling home and talking to his kids in Welsh, and I'm not sure Brett knew what was going on. He didn't recognise the language in a really lovely way, in a nice way. And I was like, he's a clever boy, that one.
He's trying to keep his brain alive, basically. I think I have a fear of my brain just breaking down.
Let's play some songs. Let's play something from that record that's in the corner of the room we're in. This is Ynys.
Yeah.
You're a fan of this band, James?
Oh, especially, I think this album's been brilliant. The thing is, the production on it is perfect. Everything is great about it.
This is from the Dosbarth Norse album. It's Ynys, chosen by the Manics. BBC Radio Wales, and with Nicky Wire and James Dean Bradfield from Manic Street Preachers. A week of release for Critical Thinking. Let's bring it back to Wales. Nicky, how's your brother? How's Patrick?
The wild one of the family.
Yeah.
People think I'm the edgelord, apparently, or the unrecognisable 90s icon, as I was quoted as being the other day. Yeah, he's on good form. I was chatting to him earlier today.
Hang on, let's focus in on that. When a newspaper puts a picture of you on their website and say, who is this unrecognisable 90s icon, how does that make you feel?
Oh, it's just all part of the fun and games. I mean, we grew up in quite a brutal age of the music press, so... But yeah, it was still quite flabbergasting in many ways. But it's not, There are people suffering far worse slights than that. You've only got to go on social media. But yeah, it is a weird feeling. What people think of you is the strange thing, really.
Yeah.
That can apply to so many instances.
Yeah. I forgot what we were talking about before I took you on a...
Oh,
you're
you started
Patrick,
off
sorry,
with my
yeah.
brother.
Sorry. I'm back to Patrick. I saw him and you talking about the Blackwood Miners Institute, which was threatened with closure last year. Am I right in saying it's been saved now by the council?
Apparently, unfortunately, the Tudor mansion was mothballed. I think mothballed seems a kind way of saying closed.
Yeah.
Unkind, really, but yeah, I think it has, and as I said at the time, certainly my unbelievably beautiful memories of that place was the old snooker hall downstairs, because it was in the blazing summer. It was so cool and beautiful to play, and you'd see one of the, like, Cliff Wilson have his own table, or Darren Morgan, one of the Welsh players.
How about to see Doug Mountjoy there do trick shots?
There you go.
Oh, cool.
When we've played there as well, haven't we?
We did.
We've played there once. I've played there with Public Service Broadcast.
Oh yeah.
I did one song with them, and I did a War Child thing there as well, didn't I?
Yes.
Didn't you play for Radio 2 there as well?
Yeah, that was the sort of homecoming show, which was filmed, and it was brilliant. Actually, it was because it was around Send Away and Postcards. We were really in the groove. We've been touring non-stop.
Yeah.
And
so we've been on the stage 3 times here, so we've used it as well.
And talking about art institutions, you were talking before we started recording, James, about your love for St David's Hall in the centre of Cardiff, which is still closed. Yeah. You'd go to see a lot of concerts there.
I mean, I remember this why I was setting the pattern earlier. I remember Howard Jones had just had a hit with New Song, and you copied his hair a tiny bit for 1 week.
Unrecognisable.
I didn't have the ability to do that with my hair, obviously. I was a bit more a jackal from brushstrokes for my hair.
Howard Jones from Cardiff, was he?
He was a Radar boy, I think, originally.
It might be Penarth.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was Radar. Definitely wasn't Cogan. Anyway, I remember saying to him, "Do you get tickets for Howard Jones? Would you come?" He'd be like, "Yeah, I'll come and see it." Then the next day, "You sure you want to come?" He's like, "Nah, I don't go." So anyway, I saw Spear of Destiny at St David's Hall. Oh, yeah. So Waterboys there. So Carrie Newman there.
Berserker Tour.
On the Berserker Tour, on Warriors Tour. And then
Twice.
Latter Life, I've seen Steve Wilson there, Suzanne Vega, Echo and the Bunnymen.
But even more recently, up until its closure, you'd see gigs there, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like in the last couple of years or so, I've seen Steve Wilson there, Echo and the Bunnymen there, Waterboys there, just lots of stuff, so... I was there, for Susan Vega last year. I had a great Sunday on my own. Kind of parked up in John Lewis, walked there just 100 yards, bought myself a pack of Opal Fruits. It was rock and roll, man, on a Sunday night. But do Marlene Run the Wall, which is an amazing single. It did feel kind of emotional. So I hope the place comes back. I really do. I hope it comes back. It's as I've gotten older, I've really appreciated it as a venue to go and see a concert.
I mean, I even more importantly than that, I saw Jockey Wilson play darts there. I used to go and watch the home internationals. It was Wales against Scotland, and I tried to get his autograph, and he told me to F off in a really nice, jovial manner.
F off, Sonny.
And I used my dart in Hero. I used to love going there to see that. And in a real act, then again, one of these sort of odd things that happened, I saw my daughter there with I forget which orchestra, what she was in at the time. She was playing violin and clarinet, and I was sat at the back just thinking about, all the stuff I'd seen on that stage, and she was there playing a violin. It was quite, I'm not over emotional as a man, but it was quite a moment there. I saw a David Bowie tribute band.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you?
Yeah, it was good.
They're all stacking up now.
Yeah.
I saw the Alarm there as well. I saw those bands there. Yeah.
Bootleg Beatles I saw there. One of my
We were
first
going
ever
to see
gigs.
that.
Yeah. First ever
Got
gigs.
cancelled in COVID.
Octonauts with my daughter as well.
Yeah,
there you go.
So what a kind of it's so much use out of that venue. It's got to come back. Yes.
At this point, we could play Jackie Wilson Said in a nod to when...
Nod to the Top Pops format.
Top of the Pops mistake, where they put a picture up of Jockey. But we should play Suzanne Vega, I think.
Okay.
Because it is a beautiful song.
Let's get into Alan Thompson world, yeah.
Because, of course,
rolled gold.
The late, great Alan Thompson.
Yeah. I used to love listening on Sunday nights, you know that.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, let's play this in memory of Alan then, shall we?
Yeah, indeed.
It's Suzanne Vega on Radio Wales, and that makes you think of a DJ who... Is it 10 years now since Alan Thompson's passed away?
Yeah. Probably is, yeah.
It was, yeah.
And did you ever... Did he ever interview you as well?
No, I met him at the old BBC building, unfortunately gone. I met him a couple of times, but I think we were supposed to do an interview with him once and he was ill.
He was?
He was, yeah, he was ill, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he was just a flu or something, you know. I think your mum wrote to him a couple of times. Did you? She phoned in a couple of times or something?
Might well have done.
I think you told me she did, yeah.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I used to love listening to him on a Sunday night. You know,
me too.
When they'd be like, now we got a session from the keyboard player from Kajagoogoo tonight. But I used to play that, the Ray, kind of like, he used to play a kind of obscure 7-inch every Sunday, didn't he?
Yeah.
He used to play some nice stuff now and again.
It was always, you'd always, something good from Joan Armour Trade In or Squeeze, just records that you'd really grown up with. There was no kind of cool shame to his show. You know, it was just, if it was Men at Work, we're going to play it. Yeah. So I loved those Men at Work, that one album.
It's comforting voice.
Overkill.
Yeah.
We spoke about St David's Hall in Cardiff. Take us to Swansea. You've got 2 nights at the Swansea Arena. When was the last time Manic's played in Swansea, Nick?
We played the Liberty Stadium on the Everything Must Go. So what would that be? 2016?
I think so.
And that was a magical... Because it was really daunting. It was one of those things where... sort of after putting it on sale, you think, oh my God, this is like a big deal again, playing a stadium, you know.
Yeah.
So it was just felt like a huge effort, and Super Furies had sort of reformed at that point, so they supported us. But it was pure magic. It was just there was something about the atmosphere that night, and we were doing Everything Must Go, and then another set afterwards. Yeah, remarkable. And before that, I think we played the Bramwyn Hall.
Bramwyn Hall, yeah. It was,
which was elegant, really elegant building. But it's not many times we've played it. We played a festival once where I got bottled and I got hospital because I had concussion, but in a good, fun way.
Of Singleton Park, wasn't it?
Singleton Park.
Yeah.
And we played the Marina gig, really early doors.
And it wasn't a great gig, that one. That was the only one which is not really memorable.
Motown Junk Tour, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't great. But Singleton Park was good, even though we nearly got brained. Kind of Liberty Stadium was amazing, actually.
It was.
Really was. And Bramwyn Hall felt like an old 70s concert. I can't believe they actually let us play with those old tapestries and all that stuff.
Murals.
And Swansea's close to your heart because you went to university there.
It is, yeah. And Richie did. So, a lot of the plotting and the planning of Manic's Root Preachers were done in Richie's room on King Edward's Road, I think it was, a row, on which he had a lovely big high-ceilinged room, and he used to cook me Fray Bentos pie and chips, or rice and pineapple and tuna, which is pretty exotic for me back then. And we'd, be swapping lyrics and just coming up with slogans and listening to music. So, yeah, so my brother went to Swansea Uni as well. So, I spent a lot of time in the, not the arcades to buy objects, the arcades to lose money in Swansea. I got pretty close to it, being addicted to gambling at that point.
Yeah, I used to send him the odd fiver to bail him out in a letter and stuff, because we were constantly sending each other letters and postcards and ideas and stuff and everything.
So you were home in...
I was still in Pontefraith at that point, yeah. I deferred my year at Middlesex Poly.
Sending Nicky fivers in the post.
He was working in the bar in the Memo.
And I did a little bit of labouring. I was doing a bit of busking as well, so kind of that was my year out.
I mean, to my eternal shame, it did get quite bad because I did actually pawn the bass guitar that I was playing in Manic's Root Preachers for 30 quid.
The Rickenbacker, was it?
No, the black K one, do you remember?
Oh, I do, yeah.
And that was to fund your gambling habit?
And I just went straight into Shipley's and put it straight in and lost it all.
No.
And I can't remember I told the boys.
Yeah.
But I was so convinced that we were going to be huge at this point.
Sean was working in the patent office, wasn't he?
Yes, he'd moved to London to work in the patent office.
It was all quite disparate at that point. I've forgotten the first time we played in Swansea was the Student Union. Supporting Mega City 4.
100%. Nelson Mandela Bar.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've played an awful lot.
Yeah, more than we thought.
Yeah, but that was in 1989.
89.
We were barely a band at that point.
Okay.
So.
It's the first time Richie ever played with us because we were kind of Suicide Alley in a three-piece. But Richie came on and played Sorrow 16 with us. And that was the first time we were ever a four-piece, and it felt really good.
Okay. I remember we waited around for Mega City 4 to play a song called Paper Tiger.
Yeah.
Which Richie loved, but I didn't think they played it that night.
Let's play another song, James. Choose a track from Critical Thinking. Your 15th album is out this week. Ooh. It's out now. Now, is this going to be a number one album for Manic Street Preachers, James?
I think the hordes of gigantic American artists are probably going to grind us into the dust, I imagine.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it just feels like the dominion of just gigantic pop acts at the moment, and you can't fight against that.
And we're in a different era now. Is it even different from Ultra Vivid Lament times in terms of the streaming and even, I guess, even less compact disc, CDs, physical formats, vinyl?
I think people go into shops as much as anything here, that everything is so bundled and pre-ordered, which I like. I'm shamelessly into all that. I can't deny it, but
that affects the chart. It changed. I mean, the charts aren't what they used to be.
No, it is different. There's been times when we've released albums like, Everything Must Go did 57,000 in the first week, but it happened that George Michael had an album out. We still went on to sell 1 million albums. Yeah. And we've had 5 or 6 number 2 albums.
Right.
So we've been pretty unlucky on that level.
Yeah.
But, those records have gone on to sell really well. But I think the pop acts have actually, led by Taylor Swift, have really understood now about vinyl and bundling and selling direct to their fans. This is really niche stuff here.
Bundling.
I am available to any bands that wants to maximise their fan base.
It's brilliant.
Should we play a song called Deleted Scenes?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Manic's on Radio Wales. And that was Deleted Scenes. And we wish you all the very best on the tour coming up as well. And it's a beautiful album, Critical Thinking, James, your 15th record.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about... there's 2 songs that struck me about loss. One about your late mother, and also the song My Brave Friend.
Yeah.
Before we play My Brave Friend, can you tell us a little about this one, Nick?
It's a really complicated story, this history to this song, because it was first written the music was written around 2001 for a greatest hits album, Forever Delayed. So I think it's about 2001, 2002. Yeah. With a totally different lyric. It was called The Greatest. I loved the tune. There was just something mesmeric about it. And I'd never forgotten it. I'd often nagged James about, surely we can do something with it. And then, to cut a long story short, I'd also been trying to write a song about a chap called Jim Fletcher, who was our product manager at Sony on postcards and Send Away the Tigers. A person I loved him. He was just such a sweetheart, and he was brilliant to work with. And he passed away really young. And I'd sort of dabbled in trying to write a song, which was a tribute to him, which, comes into a broader sense of things and people that we've lost over the years. But anyway, I asked James then, I said, could you just do a piano and guitar of that song again, just so I can try and... It's the same vocal line that James wrote initially all those years ago, but I just said, I've got some words, and maybe if I could try and sing it my way, you could get where I'm trying to sing.
You're trying to repurpose a song, weren't you?
And then I sent it to James. I'm always sending James voicemails when he's on holiday or something, bugging him.
Just to make a point.
Make you feel guilty.
That's cruel. But yeah, I came in and did that, and I think he sent me a really nice text back saying, it just all seems to make sense now. The song seems to make sense of itself.
Yeah, it is a complicated story because we offered this song up to Mike Hedges, our friend and producer.
Yeah.
And he said, I might pitch this to Sarah Brightman.
The original one, yeah. Forgot about that.
Unless, kind of like, she went and did a version of it somehow, and we didn't know about it. Anyway, she didn't. And for me, the song was dead, and obviously, why I represented it, resurrected it. I was a bit suspicious of whether it would work, but it completely worked because we'd never played the old version live. We'd forgotten about it. The lyric originally was a bit more esoteric in its approach, wasn't it? It wasn't definite.
No.
So this was about something definite, and it just felt right straight away. So it feels like a good, fitting, solid tribute to somebody that was just an acceptable chap.
That was Manic Street Preachers, My Brave Friend. Nikki, tell us a little bit about how Patrick Jones, the esteemed poet and playwright, how's your bro doing?
Brotherly love obviously brings brotherly conflict at times. But yeah, we have been working on he does the most of the writing, but yeah, I consider myself executive producer on this, on a comedy called Memory Lanes. Which we're hoping to sort of piece together in the studio, treat it like a radio drama stroke comedy stroke podcast. I don't know. But yeah, we're kind of working on that.
Have you heard any of it, James?
Well, you will have to talk to my lawyer because the title is mine.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I thought it was my brother's. No. My God, he didn't tell me. Well, you're in. You're in.
So it's just a small point. Half a pint will do.
We'll see you all in court. We look forward to that.
We've always talked about doing comedies together because our households are just so full of fun and just, you could call it piss-taking or whatever, but the growing up, I think what has bound us together a lot, you can call it cynicism if you want, but is also an undeniable sort of fatalistic sense of humour, and that's what me and my brother are trying to get across. I'm trying to think of the other one he did about the record shop.
So Don, because it's a brilliant...
What's it called?
All right, then.
Dad's Records.
Should we just pitch it? There's an idea called Dad's Records. It's just one room, and it's just the guy behind the counter, and it's called Dad's Records, and it's on a little trading industrial estate, but it's a great little shop, and it's about all the people that come in. And we couldn't get funding for it. Come on, BBC, step up.
We'll fund that now.
And the kind of existential trick of the show, because no one can copy it now, because obviously I'm putting it out there, but the existential trick is that the guy doesn't want to sell any of his records. So everyone who comes in ends up not buying the record that they want.
Okay.
So it's like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern sort of trapped.
Or like the Crow scene. Can I have the Crow, please? No Crows off today.
Okay. Is it a bit like Probe in Julian Cope's book where they go in and Jeff refuses to sell them the records because...
Have a bar goodbye, Julian Cope. People don't realise it.
Of course. Were you one of the half of the population of Wales that watched Gavin and Stacey on Christmas Day, Nick?
I did. My daughter has really... Well... I did happen to be in Athens, so I watched it on catch-up. It's the first time ever that I've gone away for Christmas. Just me, my wife, and my daughter, and my son. But yeah, the first day we came back, I watched it. And I actually thought it was a brilliant episode. Because those things can go wrong big time. Yeah. But it was kind of heartwarming. It was comedy drama, what the UK does really well at times. Social comedy, yeah.
Have I made this up, or do you get a mention in an episode of Gavin and Stacey?
Well, I'd like to think we do. I don't know.
No, maybe I've made that up.
I don't know.
You'd know.
We did in the Royal Family a few times.
Right, okay.
The Royal Family, Caroline O'Hearn. Yeah. Some good mentions in there. Yes.
Of Manics?
Yeah. And that series, This Life, do you remember that? They used to play No Surface All Feeling, the sort of yuppie sort of...
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Sort of, I loved that.
It was the fight scene where you can have our version of Can't Take My Eyes Off You.
Yeah.
In the wedding. I'm one of those strange people that's never seen an episode of Breaking Bad or Gavin and Stacey.
What? How?
I know. I love Rob and Ruth. They're amazing. I've seen lots of other stuff. I just felt like I missed the boat and I never caught up. And Breaking Bad, we just had our first kid and we just couldn't watch something so bleak. So it's mine. Blind spot.
No, my daughter really likes. She certainly takes her kind of Welsh upbringing with her to London. That's for sure. She did last St. David's Day. I don't even know I should say this, but last St. David's Day, she actually wore a Welsh flag miniskirt. That was mine. That I wore at the Liberty Stadium. And she went out in it. And she got a few compliments as well.
You must be so proud.
Indeed.
Perhaps you should pass the family Politburo before that goes out.
Oh, no, it's fine. She carries it well.
You mentioned No Surface All Feeling.
Yes.
I mean, what a song. I think it's one of my favourite Manic songs, this, you know.
It's really lasted the test of time. It's got a molten power to it. And it's just... You forget how good it is. It's one of those songs James will probably want to dump, and then he'll actually listen to the recorded. The thing with James and Sean is they never listen to our records.
I do, but not as much as you.
And they forget about how good they are.
No, I love No Surface, but...
You didn't want it on the album.
I know, I admit to that, and I was wrong. I always tell my wife this. I always admit when I'm wrong. What about you?
Who are you talking to there, Nikki?
Why, not my wife? Oh, God, no. We're going to leave that in. Sean always gets angry. Sean gets more angry about this than nearly anything. It's one of our best ever snare drum sounds. Oh. And the snare drum got stolen after this session, and Sean gets very angry about it.
Let's play it now. Nicky Wire, James Dean Bradfield, thank you for being with us on Radio Wales tonight.
Pleasure, Hugh.
Gotcha.
And a pain.